Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hello, senior families. Bienvenidas, familias del grado 12.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us here today. Welcome. Thank you for waiting. We're going to get started in just a minute. We're letting everyone else join the Zoom right now.
And for families that are looking for interpretation, para familias quienes necesitan interpretación en español, si por favor pueden hacer clic en el globo terráqueo si están utilizando su computadora, y si están utilizando su teléfono, por favor hágale clic a los tres puntitos que están abajo en su pantalla y haga clic en el idioma español.
All right, everyone, welcome. We're just allowing everybody else to kind of join the Zoom while we get started. Thank you so much for being here today. Oh, yes, I'm seeing Ms. Olivar now on our screen. Very, very great. All right. What do you think, Ms. Trujillo? Should I get started?
Sounds good. So just one more time, una vez más, si hay familias que necesitan interpretación en español, por favor hagan clic en el globo terráqueo, hagan clic en interpretación y opriman español. O si están en su teléfono celular, por favor hagan clic en los tres puntitos a su mano derecha y oprima español para interpretación.
All right, senior families, we are so excited that you can be joining us today. Thank you so much for being here. I want to start by introducing and thanking my staff for being here with me. So we have Mrs. Trujillo, who you know and love. And so she's on the screen there for you and supporting tonight's event. You have Mr. Rubio here, another assistant principal from our school. So he's supporting us. Thank you for being here. Ms. Adivad is here as well, and she's your senior counselor. And so she's here. She's going to have a slide, and we're going to go through some counseling items that she will talk about later down the presentation. And we also have Mrs. Renteria here, and she's the one doing the interpretation today for families who speak Spanish as a home language. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and move along. So families, just a refresher, some housekeeping things before we get started. We will be using the chat as a space for you to be able to put in your questions. So I'm sure you're going to have questions throughout the presentation. My suggestion is that I have designed the presentation in such a way where I'm hoping that I answer a lot of your questions, but whatever questions you end up having closer to the end of the presentation, please go ahead and throw those into the chat, and Mr. Rubio is going to help me monitor some of those questions. We will be answering those questions at the end of our presentation. So we will take care of you in that way. Thank you so much for muting everyone to kind of prevent any sort of distractions. If we happen to hear that you are unmuted, we might mute you just as a way to make sure that all families can hear our presentation tonight. So thank you, and moving right along. So families, your seniors participated in what's called Senior Talks in the auditorium last week on May 2nd. And so on May 2nd, they came into the auditorium and we had it during second period and third. We were introducing and reiterating really the information that we sent out to seniors in the senior letter. So in the senior letter, we sent out all of the information about graduation rehearsal, things to expect, behavior expectations, and all sorts of things. So today we wanted to hold this meeting with you today to go over some of those things that your seniors learned during senior talks. And then just anything that you need to know as families before you come to graduation on May 25th. So what you see in on your screen here is something that should be very familiar to you. So we sent out a senior letter that included these two slides. And on here, you see all of the dates that are important for seniors. So for example, the senior talks are listed on here, and that was mandatory for all seniors. Moving right along, the things that are circled in red is what I consider the most important and things that I needed all seniors to know. And so that's what I had seniors circling on their end during senior talks. Yesterday was the deadline for all APEX classes. So if your students were taking APEX classes, they needed to complete that as of yesterday. The next upcoming major event is where the fines for any ASB, library, and technology are due, and that's May 15th. So you will see listed on there how and where they can pay those fines if they do owe charges for ASB, library, and technology. You will see on there that next week, seniors should be taking their finals on the 15th and the 16th. Along kind of simultaneously, what's happening with that as well is on May 16th, really, is when we encourage students to turn in all borrowed technology. So any Chromebooks, power cords, any hotspots that they borrowed from us, they need to make sure that they return that so that there aren't any delays in picking up their cap and gowns later during the week next week. So we recommend seniors, they're not going to need them after May 16th. They should really come by May 16th to drop off all of their borrowed technologies. And so that's what we encourage during senior talks. Can they wait till the 19th? Yes, that's not what we recommend. We're just giving students options until the 19th to return. They should really return on that 16th of next week. Senior checkout forms are due on May 17th. So when we met with seniors last week, we gave every single senior a paper copy of what's called a senior checkout form. On that senior checkout form, it listed quite a few different things. So let me flip over here really quickly to kind of show you. This is what it looked like. So they received two different forms. They received an instruction sheet, and then they also received a senior checkout form that you see on your left-hand side. The checkout form was tailored to the students, so it already had their names printed, their ID numbers. Their jobs between last week and on when it's due May 17th is to get signatures from different places. So for example, every single senior, regardless of whether they owe fees or not, they do have to make a stop over to the ASB window. They have to get a stamp from Mrs. Aparicio stating that they don't owe any fees. And if they do, they can learn about them with her and then figure out how to pay for those fees. Library charges, they need to get a stamp from the library from Mr. Campos, and that will inform us whether or not they owe something and whether or not they've been cleared on the checkout form. Technology charges, so as you see it stated on there, May 16th, again, is the reminder to turn in any borrowed technology. Once they turn in everything that is owed to us, we will stamp or sign that day, and they will be good to go. So again, every single senior should have 3 signatures at the top, no matter what, or 3 stamps. Now, moving right along on the form, on the bottom, you have spaces where this is, again, tailored to your specific senior. So this one's blank, but your senior received a list with all their classes and their teachers' names. They are to take it over to their teachers by May 17th, get it signed by their teachers with their final grade. That will indicate to me and Mrs. Sadivar that they are good to go for graduation. That's one of our ways that we are checking to make sure that seniors have been cleared for graduation. This form family is mandatory. So we have explained to seniors that they have to turn in this form by May 17th in order as one of the steps to make sure that they graduate. So that is very important. Okay, so let me go back here. So May 17th, again, the form is due. It is due to their 5th period teacher. Well, Missy, I don't have a 5th period teacher. Okay, great. Then you got to go turn it into Mrs. Sadivad. Okay, so there are ways to turn this form in. So if they, for whatever reason, forgot it and they missed the opportunity to turn it into their 5th period teacher, they need to go to their counselor, Mrs. Sadivad, to make sure that they return that form completed. Okay. Okay. Cap and gown distribution. So the fun really begins starting next week. So once seniors take their finals and get that stressor out of the way, they can start picking up their cap and gowns next week on Thursday. We have the dates set up for you already, the times. So before school, at lunch, and after school will be our first cap and gown distribution next Thursday. Okay. So next Thursday, again, before lunch, before school lunch or after school. And then moving right along, you have your senior grad walks. If your senior signed up for grad walks, they will be able to participate in those on Monday, May 22nd. The form closed yesterday, so we are no longer accepting any more seniors to join. However, that forum was opened for weeks, and we promoted and we nudged and reminded students. So we have a good amount of students joining us for those grad walks. But if you don't know what grad walks are, it's an opportunity for seniors who are going to be graduating to walk in their caps and gowns at the feeder elementary and middle schools that they came from. And so they get an opportunity to walk the hallways and see old teachers, say hi to the little ones, and then they return to our school. Okay, so moving right along here, what's super, super important and mandatory is May 24th. That is when graduation rehearsal will happen. So graduation rehearsal is mandatory for all seniors. So they must report to the Savanna High School tennis courts on May 24th at 9 o'clock. We are going to be practicing what it will look like on the 25th when they graduate at Handel Stadium. So on the 24th, they're going to get their name cards. We're going to pretend to read their names on stage. We're going to walk onto the field, walk up the stage, get off the field. We're going to practice all of those things. And you will see in a second, but on that day, you will also, your seniors will receive their tickets for graduation on that day, along with a final cap and gown distribution for any kiddos that missed some of the other cap and gown distribution dates. And then in addition, you don't see it on here because this is fairly new, but we are also going to be distributing district issued regalia on the day of graduation rehearsal. Okay, we have the seniors there. It's a good way for us to make sure that all the seniors who are going to be receiving district issued regalia will be picking up the regalia on the day of graduation rehearsal. And then finally, we come to, honestly, the biggest and the most memorable day, hopefully, of their high school experience, and that's graduation day. And we will talk a little bit more about the details of graduation day in a second. So again, this is super important, and that's why I have a very specific slide for this. The checkout form that I just showed you on the other slide, they need to make sure they get all the stamps from every single department, ASB, library, and technology. In addition to those, they need to make sure that they get stamps or signatures from all of their teachers underneath as well. That is a requirement for every single senior to complete. We have been informing seniors about that, but if you could remind your seniors at home, that would be really, really awesome. Forms are due next week, the 17th, to their 5th period classes. And again, any forgery or any failure to turn in a form will only delay cap and gown distributions and all of those things. So please make sure that your seniors get that in on time. Okay, Mrs. Sadivad.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So again, as Ms. Yee had mentioned, the Apex deadline was yesterday. So all students should have completed their Apex deadline. Their Apex classes, they were due yesterday. Community service hours are due tomorrow. Seniors are required to have 20 community service hours. By tomorrow, they should be uploaded to Thrively, and Ms. Yee and I will be checking that next week. For a passing grade, seniors need a D or higher or a 60% or higher. That is necessary for them to pass their class. So please be sure to check ARIES, check your student's current grade, and speak to them if their current grade is below a 60% or below a D-, because they should be having those conversations with their teachers so that they may find extra work to do so that they can have that passing grade. Okay. And then seniors, parents, please speak to your seniors about completing the senior survey by May 16th. Seniors received an email from the district, and it has a unique link. We are hoping that all seniors will be completing that survey by May 16th.
Hey, thank you. Okay, so again, if you have any questions for Mrs. Sadivan, we're going to take them in the chat and then we will answer your questions at the end. If it's unique to your student in regards to graduation and credits, we suggest that you definitely reach out to Mrs. Sadivan on the side, just because this is more of a public space. Okay, so graduation rehearsal. So graduation rehearsal will happen the day right before graduation. So it's going to be May 24th. Again, at the tennis courts at 9 a.m. Although we graduate on the 25th at Handel Stadium, we are practicing on our campus at Savanna High School. And the setup is going to be very similar so that students can practice and they know and they're prepared for the next day. So it is mandatory for all seniors. And we will be doing, again, ticket distributions on this day. We're going to be doing a cap and gown distribution and then a district issued regalia distribution. Seniors do not need to wear their cap and gowns for graduation rehearsal. They can simply come in their best dressed, casual clothing. And then we will do the cap and gowns for the next day. Okay. So graduation day is the day after. Although graduation starts at 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock is showtime. So I do need every single senior to be there by 9 o'clock. So every single senior should be at Handel Stadium an hour before graduation. This gives us a time to make sure that everyone has their name cards, everybody looks good, everybody is dressed well, go over any last minute details, and then we should be good to go at 10 o'clock in the morning for you guys. Okay, the ceremony should take about an hour and they are to be meeting at the tennis courts too. So on graduation rehearsal, they're going to be meeting at Savanna's tennis courts. And then on graduation day, they're going to be meeting at Handel Stadium's tennis courts. And then we will take care of it from there. So it's going to be about an hour. Graduates are expected to do all of the following things. So be on time, be dressed appropriately, no bags, please, no cell phones in hand. Just make sure that they leave that with you or in their cars. There's going to be a lot of traffic. There's other graduations happening, and this is just graduation season. So just please make sure that you are planning accordingly. This is also a time when school is technically going on for underclassmen as well. And so schools are busy. Seniors should be coming in holding their caps and gowns as they are entering the tennis courts area, and they're going to be placing everything on, and they should be ready to go within that hour. Something that we really stress at the senior talks, and honestly, for seniors specifically the last couple of months, is just being on their best behavior. So graduation isn't just about the graduate, it's also about the family, it's all about the friends and everybody who supported that graduate to be there during that ceremony. And so we expect that all seniors will be on their best behavior, be kind, be respectful, and really follow those instructions. Seniors will also be receiving their diplomas during the ceremony, and so we will take care of that. Seniors should receive a diploma cover on stage as they are walking, and then they will receive their diplomas as they are being seated from their row monitors. Graduation attire. So professional attire is recommended. So they need to make sure that they are in slacks, dress pants, closed dress shoes without spiked heels. So families, not sure if you've been to other graduations, but seniors do have to go out on the field, and the field means grass. If seniors are wearing spiked heels or really, really big heels, those heels can get wedged into the grass. And we have seen, unfortunately, many falls through graduation. And so it is very, very important that seniors wear either wedges or just flats is what we recommend, so that there are no accidents as they are walking up the stage, walking down the stage. Dress, skirts, shirts with ties, blouses, those are some of the things that we recommend for seniors to be in addition to having professional attire on. Every single graduate from Savanna High School must have a cap, a gown, and a silver Savanna stole. And if you're not sure what that looks like, I have a picture of it here. So on here, you see the stole, the silver Savanna stole is what our staff member is wearing, along with the gown and the cap. Every single senior should look like they have all three items before they go out onto the field. Okay, so let's say we have missed the cap and gown purchases. They did stop online purchases as of May 1st, but they were also charging a like a processing fee. So to avoid some of that, seniors have one final opportunity to purchase their cap and gowns, and that's going to be in person. That is going to be on the day of cap and gown distributions on May 18th, which is next Thursday. So when SoCal Grad is distributing caps and gowns before, at lunch, or after school, they can purchase a cap and gown that day. I have a lot of families who are saying, well, we don't need to purchase a cap and gown because we're borrowing sisters or brothers. That is fine. However, they most likely do not have a Savanna silver stole because this is new this year. All graduating seniors must have a Savanna silver stole. And the silver stole is about $15 on its own. They do come in like different combos with a tassel or with something else. And so if they want to buy it in a combo, it gets a little bit more expensive, but they just please make sure that they have all three items, the cap, the gown, and the stole. Any items that they do not have, they can still purchase. That's going to be on May 18th. And that is the final time they can purchase. They can't purchase anything online anymore. And after the 18th, SoCal Grad will not be taking any more orders. And so just please make sure if you have any concerns or questions, just let us know about caps, gowns, and stoles. Again, our expectation is that they will iron, steam, make them look good. Absolutely no alternating or decorating of any kind. And so seniors cannot decorate their caps or their gowns or their stoles. They cannot alter it any way. They cannot decorate them in any sort of way. If they have any sort of decorated cap or gown, we will not allow them to participate in graduation. And so we have already told seniors this on May 2nd. We have been pushing out a lot of information through Rebel TV, through Mrs. Trujillo, through all the parent communications we've been sending at home, because this is very serious. Our district is very serious about not having any students decorate any form of their caps and gowns. So please make sure that your senior doesn't have anything decorated so that they can participate in their graduation ceremony. We know that leis are cool. Leis do have to stay with you in the car. So after the ceremony, you can absolutely put it on your senior and take pictures with it. They cannot have it during the graduation ceremony at all. Okay, and I believe that is it for that piece. So guests, so we have a lot of kind of questions about what we can bring, what we can't bring. So those are all the things that were listed already in the senior letter, but balloons, beach ball, signs, noisemakers, strollers, umbrellas, those things are not allowed at the graduation ceremony. It is a very short graduation ceremony. We're not expecting it to go any more than an hour. So just please make sure that seniors are keeping those things in the car or at home. Guests in wheelchairs, we will have seating on the field for you. You will also have a lot of signs directing you on where to park. And so it will say accessible parking, and you will just have to follow the signs and park in those spots. However, you do have to have a placard to park in those spots. So just as an FYI, only water will be sold at graduation. No other items will be sold at graduation. All guests must remain seated. So we have about 300 or so seniors who are graduating on that day. Again, the ceremony is only about an hour. Please make sure we are asking all the seniors to stay seated. We're hoping that the guests also remain seated throughout the whole ceremony until about 11 or so. And then please hold your applause till the end. We will remind you, Mr. Pooley will remind you the day of the ceremony about some of the housekeeping things. So I'm sure you have so many questions about tickets. So as we stated in the senior letter, every single senior will receive 10 tickets each senior, okay? We have a lot of questions about, well, what about infants, toddlers, do they need, what about a child who's gonna sit on my lap, do they need a ticket? The answer is yes, families. Every single person, human being that is coming in to graduation must have a ticket. Okay, that's just part of the rules. So 10 tickets is what every single senior will receive, and they will receive that at the graduation rehearsal. If you need more tickets, I have already asked and sent this out to seniors and also included it in my senior talks. If they need more tickets, they can absolutely put in a request. I do not have any extra tickets at this point. So whatever extra tickets I do end up having, it's a first come, first serve of who filled out my form. And this was sent out weeks ago to seniors. And so if they completed it, that's just merely a request. It's not a guarantee. So what we will do is, depending on how many extra tickets we have, it will be a first come, first serve basis, and I will be handing those tickets out to those seniors. I don't have any graduation tickets as of right now. And so I'm not expecting them until closer to graduation day. So that means that any extra tickets I do end up having will not be distributed until closer to graduation. Okay. Okay. Aside from that, the last note on here is super important. We constantly email students about any updates or important deadlines that they need to know about graduation rehearsal, and all of those things. Please just make sure that your seniors checking their emails daily. That is super, super important. So senior consequences. So I said this in my senior talks last week. Seniors have to be on their best behavior. At this point in the game, I am expecting that no seniors are receiving referrals from any teachers. They are not bringing inappropriate items that do not belong on a school site to campus. They are not getting into any trouble. This is not the time to do so, because if they do, they could potentially lose out on the senior activities. And there are some crazy cool free activities that ASB planned, in addition to some of the senior packages that some seniors purchased, and it includes Universal Studios and Disneyland and all of those things. So if they do not want to jeopardize participating in those, they need to be on their best behavior. They could potentially lose out on graduation tickets and not participate in graduation ceremony. So that is tragic, and we do not want to do that to any seniors. However, if they receive referrals, they get into disciplinary issues, then we will have to discuss and figure out what that means about jeopardizing all of those things: activities, tickets, graduation, all of those things. So please encourage your seniors to be on their best behaviors. The last 2 weeks for seniors will look something like this. So they will have their finals on the 15th and the 16th, as we mentioned. They need to make sure that they turn in all borrowed technology and textbooks to the library. Then on the 17th, their checkout forms are due to their 5th period class. On their 18th and the 19th, we're doing caps and gown distributions. So they will have a chance to pick those up. Again, any specifics as to where and all of that is on that calendar that I sent out in that senior letter. Then following the next week, we have graduation walks. ASB planned a pool day. We're going to do another cap and gown distributions. Then for seniors who purchase their packages, they get to go to Disneyland the following day. Grad rehearsal, which is mandatory for all seniors, is happening on May 24th. We're going to do the ticket distributions. We're going to do the district issue regalia distributions, and then the cap and gown distributions for the last time. Then that brings us to a closing, and it's going to be graduation day on the 25th. So that's kind of what the last 2 weeks of seniors looks like. Okay, this is just an FYI, really. We kind of already introduced some of this information to seniors, but it's just more of a guide, a visual of what the map and the seating will look like. So seniors will sit on either the A side or the B side. It's just distributed by last name, so we'll figure those things out. But there are 2 sides, an A side and a B side, and it's just trying to show you the layout of that day. So where the stage is going to be, how students walk in, how students leave the field, and all of those things. We will be posting this on our website, and Mrs. Trujillo will be sharing this with you, this PowerPoint as well. And so you will have a map of this if you're interested and you want to really take a close look at this after the presentation today. So parking and drop off. So as we mentioned, we will have accessible parking for any families who need them. We are going to have about 15 to 20 ADA spots at Western High School. And so if you do need to park in one of those spots, please make sure that you have a placard. We're going to have staff members there who are going to be checking for those things. And we're going to have staff members there to support you and guide you to where your seating is going to be. But please make sure that if you need the spaces to park, make sure that you have your placard. And parking is only going to open about an hour and a half before the ceremony. So the ceremony starts at 10, parking will open at about 8:30. Okay, but your seniors do have to show up at least by 9 o'clock, please. Seniors have to be there an hour before the ceremony. So that's the parking. That's where, that's what it looks like there. So again, you will have a copy of this just so that you can take a close look at, you know, where the streets are and where you're going to park, and to just kind of get familiar with where you need to be on that day. So this form has closed. We just wanted to put it in here as a reminder, but it closed as of yesterday. So the RSVP form, all seniors had an opportunity to let me know whether or not they're going to be participating in their graduation. We do this to make sure that we include all of the seniors who are RSVPing to their graduation. And then any seniors and families who have chosen to not participate, then we make sure that we keep them out for family reasons. And so that RSVP form was due yesterday. So we are not taking any more responses. However, please make sure that your senior is participating in the graduation rehearsal, because that will be another way that I check to make sure that they are being included graduation day the next day. Okay, any senior who does not show up to graduation rehearsal will be taken out of graduation because they don't know where to sit. They don't know what the process is. They haven't practiced anything for graduation. So they need to make sure that they are there. Okay. Last but not least, my last slide here is for taking questions. And so families at this time, if there was something that that you needed to, like something that wasn't answered in the presentation and you wanted to ask, please feel free to throw it in the chat. Please throw all questions in the chat and we will answer your questions that way.